Welcome, Leo, to your in-depth monthly horoscope for September 2023 for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you some standout details to look out for, but please stay with me. I will explore in much greater depth all the ins and outs, particularly relevant to your sign. Now, as this month begins, so the Sun and Mercury are pretty close together, but on the 6th they come into a cazimi, an exact conjunction where, from as we see it, Mercury is sat in the disk of the Sun, so that really amplifies Mercury. But of course Mercury is retrograde through to the 15th. What does this mean? I'm going to outline that for you. I feel there are opportunities for you around your profession and around money. But also Venus has been retrograde for 42 days by the 4th in your sign. How's that been playing out for you? I've got news on that and how Venus forges an amazing link to Mars from the 12th through to the end of the month, and there's also in a square with Jupiter, the planet of fortune. So much to share with you. We also have the autumnal equinox on the 25th, and the Sun moves into your third house, and it's going to see a speeding up of events. A lot of excitement as this month draws to a close. Please stay with me for more. I'd just like to share with you a very special opportunity. Year 2023 is speeding by, and year 24 racing towards us. If you order your year 2024 personal horoscope forecast now, based on your unique birth data, I'll provide for you the rest of year 2023 free of charge, but also my special package of 30% off. You'll get your character analysis report, your life roadmap, which will give you searing insights of the patterns that have played out so far, but also help you to get a much more intimate understanding of how to work with these energies. Please see the link below for more. And also, I'd just like to flag up to you that underneath this video, you can see your year 2024 free zodiac horoscope video forecast. So Leo, let's unpack what September has in store for you. It begins with the Sun and Mercury pretty close together, but also Mercury is linking to the very sparky and sometimes unpredictable energies of Uranus, which is in the part of your situation to do with goals, ambitions, and where you connect to the wider world. If you want to make progress with your finances, Uranus all through this month is pushing you to take the less trodden path. So if you have an unusual idea, don't dismiss it because other people are not necessarily initially smitten with what you've got to say. And also at the start of this month, because Mars is in a tense angle to Saturn in the part of your situation to do with longer term finances, Mars very much about where you're trying to find balance, but also share your enthusiasm around your ideas. You may encounter someone who is a little bit slow to see the value in what you're really buzzing about. But from the 4th, as Venus goes direct in your sign after a 42-day retrograde, this is going to add extra sparkle and charisma to you. And just to say, from the 12th through to the end of the month, Venus and Mars, the two planets of love and relating and passion, they align fantastically well. So you're going to have some exciting conversations from the 4th. It is true that Jupiter, also on the 4th, goes into retrograde through to the end of the year. And this suggests, therefore, that even if Uranus asks you to embrace fresher approaches and to be a little bit more innovative in your thinking, Uranus is in some ways offsetting Jupiter slowing things down in your sector of success. But perhaps what Jupiter is saying to you in its retrograde is it's important also to be realistic, because Jupiter can inflate our expectations. But ironically, through the first 3 weeks of this month, Venus and Jupiter are actually in a connection to one another. And your ability to impress people. The strength of your personality is actually going to be magnified by that, despite the fact that Jupiter does go retrograde. So I still see it as an important opportunity. On the 6th, we have Mercury Cazimi. Mercury in its retrograde this side of the Sun as we see it from planet Earth. So the Sun magnifies that quick wits of Mercury that comes through its rulership of Gemini. But of course it's in its home sign of Virgo. So your ability to think crisply despite the rewind and get to the nub of what's really important is going to be emphasized. So that's a real opportunity too. The 15th, we have the new moon in Virgo, but that's linking to Uranus as well. So that Virgo new moon again gives you opportunities to marshal your resources or to feel better about who you are. But again, you're being asked to perhaps approach things in a little bit more of a fresh way. But also on the 15th, Mercury ends its retrograde. So a sigh of relief all round. Doesn't come out of its shadow until the end of the month, but it is bringing you another opportunity before this month ends. But then from the 18th through to the 21st, the Sun is linking to Pluto. Pluto for 15 years has been in the part of your situation to do with your life structure, your responsibilities, obligations, and to do in some ways with your health. And of course it went into Aquarius for 11 weeks earlier this year. But this change suggests that something that you've worked and striven towards for quite a long time can slowly but surely be shaping up and evolving in an exciting way. If you don't see something tangible going on, because obviously the position of the Sun and Mercury by this time going forwards in the Earth sign of Virgo, and Pluto in the Earth sign of Capricorn, and Uranus and Jupiter in the Earth sign of Taurus. So you can see that your focus may be to do with seeing a tangible improvement in your situation, but the Sun in trine with Pluto can be to do with inner changes, and it may be around your values, around your approach to your work, your health and diet. Some big alterations can come, and those can reach a peak on the 21st. But then, on the 25th, we have the autumnal equinox, the third cardinal quadrant. The Sun moves into the sign of Libra, and this brings in a 13-week period where we're all going to be preoccupied with how we relate, how we find balance, how we are influenced by fairness or a lack of fairness in our situations. But this particular event is also afflicted by Saturn in the way that Mars was in the first week. So we just need to be aware that although your communicational skills will be given a lot of push-in to express what is important and really inspires you over this next 13-week period, just be aware that someone could examine what you're talking about, not just in terms of the idea, but in terms of the value of that idea, in terms of long-term finances, or in terms of how committed you are in any very close alliance, because the 8th house is where we can be devoted. So the chit-chat eclipse for you, which is what it is, needs to also integrate a sense of sincerity around the ideas that you have. But the full moon on the 29th could mean that you're going to encounter someone who does have a very different world view. And also on the same day, your Venus position squares up with Uranus. In fact, as this month comes to a close, you could have a sudden dazzling attraction to someone, and it could really make your pulse race. Or maybe in an existing relationship, a few home truths will be shared, or you're going to be thinking about travel with a partner. But all of these things are quite intense. And then on the 30th, Mercury ends its post-retrograde shadow. And I feel that you can then look back on this month and see that some big things have been changing at some quite practical levels. The strands that have been developing helping you to gain a greater sense of security or an understanding of what you really need. And then right at the end of the month, it's really about expressing the ideas and getting things moving in terms of your integration of those ideas in your plans or discussions with others. So I think things can be a lot more social at the end of this month, but Venus going forwards and being in that delightful link with Mars suggests that if you are single, you could draw someone to you this month, and maybe it will happen as Venus squares up with Uranus. It can be disruptive for a long-term relationship, asking us to reinvent it in some way or bring some issues to the surface that may not have been previously shared, but it can also bring the desire for some excitement. And if you are single, you could have a frisson of attraction to someone that really is very, very nice indeed. It's been a real pleasure being with you. Thank you so much for joining me. Please do like, comment, share or subscribe.